It is not gay to like trans women, but a lot of men do take a lot of their gay tendencies and put them onto trans women because a lot of closeted homosexual men think it's less gay to date a trans woman because they secretly are gay. That's what happens a lot. The sexualization of trans people is a deep and disgusting issue that trans people are super hypersexualized. A lot of trans men are hypersexualized because it's a man, but it's kind of different because it's a femboy, but it's a femboy with a woman parts. The whole thing, it's a messy situation there. But a lot of men, especially in the industry, when it comes to provocativeness, it feels gross that every single time a trans woman is brought up, it's always, can I see what's downstairs? Can I see, do you got real breast, or you got real chest implants? What's going on there? They're hypersexualized because their sexual nature becomes their identity for a lot of people. That's what becomes the most stigmatized thing. They think to themselves, oh, wait a second, you're not a real woman if you don't have this, you don't have breasts, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. When if you are a trans woman, you are a woman now. That's it. Congratulations, you've done it. And if you don't want to be a woman anymore, you don't have to be a woman anymore. And that goes on the idea of gender in society. That goes on the nuance of how people feel about the ideas of gender, because a lot of people feel like to be a woman, you have to be feminine, when in reality there are women who are masculine. So you can be a masculine trans woman. You can do that. That's a real thing you can be. And it's much more nuanced than that, because your gender doesn't determine if you're masculine or feminine. As you see with muscle mommies and things of that variety, it doesn't determine anything of that variety. But a lot of people feel that way because they feel like they're faking it if they don't go through with the assignment surgery and all this other jazz. They feel like they're doing something fake within itself, which is damaging to the entire movement overall. Is damaging to a lot of people in totality. It makes it feel like they're being a faker version of themselves. But in the grand scheme of things, a lot of men will bastardize or deeply and hypersexualize the whole entire trans movement, because trans is a category on the hub. Same with BBC and stuff like that. They often feel as though they have to, because it's what they are. That's how people feel. They say, oh, you're trans, so you're naturally just gonna want to get transition surgery, and I want to be there for the journey. I want to be there for the butt stuff and things of that variety. That's grody. It's because it comes from a lot of men really want anal. A lot of men are not comfortable in their sexuality. A lot of men want other men to like them a lot, so they see a trans woman as a moment in history and life to say, oh, this is going to be great because a woman who does anal, I can just get that immediately. This is going to be great. When in reality, that's not what a trans woman is. That's why a lot of trans women have a lot of issues dating, because there will be these straight men, perfectly straight men, who view them as purely a sexual object and nothing else. They are just sex. That is it. They are just a fetish. They are just a way to get my rocks off. My girl doesn't do behind the door stuff, but this trans woman, that's the only hole she has, so I'm just going to use the hole. And a trans woman has male parts, so this is great. They're gonna know exactly how to stimulate a penis. They're gonna know exactly how it works. And that gets messy. That gets grody and messy, and I don't like it. I don't appreciate it or enjoy it. It's really stupid to see what that is. It's dumb to have people's entire identity just be sex. And that's what it boils down to, though, because that's how American society operates. That's how people operate. That's how people are. They just want it. Sex sells. And to sell yourself to society, you have to emphasize what you are sexually. That's just how people operate. It feels gross because it's hateful in more ways than you could possibly fathom. It's disgustingly hateful. And it agitates me. That's why I'm stuttering at the current moment. I apologize. And also I have these things in my mouth. It agitates me so much because I'll see a lot of my friends who are trans women, and they will have horrifying difficulties finding somebody that wants to view them as a person. Because at the end of the day, the trans movement is just being viewed as a person. That's the entire movement. It's being viewed as, I want to be this thing, still view me as a human. And they say, no, you're a weird third thing. You're a weird fourth thing. And I can't possibly know the trans experience. I can't. And a lot of trans people feel like it is a third thing. It's a very unique experience because of the hate and stigmatization of what happens within it. It is a very separate third thing. It's so separated and far removed from everything, but it still is what it is. Just because somebody likes horses and somebody likes anime doesn't mean they both can't come in the middle and agree that you both enjoy four-legged creatures. It just the whole thing. It's a weird little nuance of how it happens. It's disgusting in that way. It feels grody to have it happen that way, but that's what it is. And until we stop, I have a rice stuck in my tooth. I'm so sorry. Until we stop going and looking at people as just their biological parts, we're never going to get past this. But that's humans, though. We see somebody that looks like a man, we say, that man, good. We see someone like a woman, that's a woman. And that is most people. That's why Asmongold is really popular. He says, yeah, if you look like a man, you're a man. You're like a woman, you're a woman. And then there's the people you can't tell. What happens a lot, and I love this so much, is that people will insult me because a lot of people think that my partner, for some reason, is trans. My partner is a natural born woman. My partner is from Czechoslovakia. That's just, they just have a wide face, just a long face and a big nose. That's really all that it is. They're very beautiful. I love them a lot. But a lot of people see that and they're so scared to get it wrong. They're so scared to get it wrong that it is a man or woman. They're transvestigating is what it's called, I believe. They're transvestigating. Oh, what could this possibly be? What's going on? They see a woman with abs and they say, oh, that's a man. Women can't get abs. It's ridiculous. There was a lot of people doing it with lean beef patty. Lean beef patty. It was a whole thing where lean beef patty was getting investigated by the people that were like, oh, she's muscular. Is she a he? Maybe it was. Maybe that's the whole thing. Maybe that's happening. It's going down there. And it's so stupid to have this happen. And I feel for the trans women and trans men that go through this, that who their entire identities has to be their biological parts, where to feel more like what they are, they have to get and stuff like that, not only for their own gender or body dysphoria or dysmorphia, whatever they have going on, but for societal standards they have to be passing in order for it to even matter for them. And it feels gross. It feels wrong to have this be the reality they have to go through, but that is what it is right now. And until we grow as a society, and this is going to sound really stupid, we're probably the most progressive society. America is probably the most progressive. You go to Saudi Arabia or Japan or China or Iceland or Greenland, they hate all that stuff. They really do. And people think they don't, but America is the most progressive, and that's why we have the most conversation and the most crying about it and the most vocal minorities that whine and bitch and moan about it the most, because they're supposed to bitch and moan about it. That's the best part. Good. I'm happy you're complaining about it, because we have to have these conversations, because we are at a state in our growing as a nation where we can talk about this stuff. So that's the important part. So that's what happens. That's important. So yeah, that's how I feel about is it gay to like trans women. So that's this whole thing. Very, very muscular women. Very muscular women are fine. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. But yeah, that's how it goes there. I like how the chat over here is just nonsense conversation for a lot of it. It's a whole thing. It's insane.
I'm your dick and night, be my loyal, slow. Happy to try what you need. Your world, I love to live in it. Ooh, I love the ride when you're free.